Mayor, we are ready.
You may proceed with the preliminary instructions if you are ready.
Thank you. This is Zoe Burgess, your city clerk. The city council regular meeting and first budget hearing of September 5th, 2023 is being held with a quorum of City of Westlake Council physically in attendance at the Westlake Council Chambers, 4005 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. Public comments may be accepted utilizing the electronic comment card available on the city's website. Public comments are permitted at the appropriate time. The mayor will call for such during public comment, and you may participate utilizing the system's virtual hand feature and waiting to be acknowledged. Please note this meeting is being recorded, both voice and video, and to remember your mic may be live. I will mute any microphones that carry any feedback or interruptions. If you are a caller that has been muted, you may unmute yourself by pressing *6. Any person in the virtual meeting causing a disruption or being inappropriate will be removed. If I may also remind those physically in attendance, please utilize microphones so that the virtual audience and a clear recording of the meeting is produced. Thank you, Mayor O'Connor.
Thank you. I will call to order the regular city council meeting and first budget hearing of September 5th, 2023 at 6:01 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Present.
Councilman Martinez.
Present.
Councilwoman Valladon.
Present.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Present.
Mayor O'Connor.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If you are able, please stand and join me for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Additions, deletions, or modifications? I believe we have one. It's an important one. It's an additional proclamation declaring September as Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. I would like to please entertain a motion to amend the agenda to include this proclamation.
Let's make a motion to amend the agenda with the additional proclamation.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call. Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Valladon.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Let's now entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Mr. Mayor, oh my gosh, I make a motion that we approve the agenda with the said recommendations for amendments.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilwoman Valladon. Roll call. Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Valladon.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Consent agenda. Actually, let's do public comments. The section of the agenda allows for comment from the public to speak. Each speaker will be given a total of 3 minutes to comment. A public comment card should be completed and returned to the city clerk. When you're called to speak, please go to the podium, unmute your device, and prior to addressing the council, state your name and address for the record. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment cards?
We do have a public comment from Ms. Torres. Ms. Torres, would you like to go to the podium? Item B.
It's the education and youth advisory board.
Public hearing. Yes, under public hearing. Yep. She's gonna hold off to item B for a public hearing.
Okay. Sure. Do we have any other public comments?
Mayor, received no additional public comments for this portion of the meeting. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. If you're a virtual member, please raise your virtual hand. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Mayor, we have a comment from Ms. Jennifer Bermudez. Ms. Bermudez, please unmute your microphone. You have 3 minutes. Please state your address.
Hi, my address is
16091 Whippoorwill Circle, Westlake, Florida.
Thank you. You may proceed.
And I just hopped onto this meeting, but this is just general public comments, correct, about whatever we're chatting about today?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I do have a comment about the one item on the agenda, the dissolution of the Education and Youth Advisory Board. I'm hoping that I wanted to express just my concerns regarding that discussion for dissolving the committee. I'm just a concerned member of our community and an advocate of youth involvement, decision-making, and I believe that, you know, dissolving the committee would be a step backward for our community, for our committee and the community, quite honestly. I think our community did bring representation, that sense of empowerment, diverse perspectives, and a positive impact. But I do believe that instead of maybe thinking about doing away with a committee, that it should be considered that maybe a new board or a new committee be created or chatted about, or that there needs to be a solution on how to make that better. Because I think for our city, it would be just a step in the wrong direction not to give something like that a chance, considering such passionate members were on the board. I just feel like it lacked leadership in the sense that we were building a ladder while we were climbing a ladder while building it. I do feel like there's a lot of potential, but I just feel like it would really set back. It would be a setback and just a bit of a disappointment to really do away with something like that without first figuring out how to make that better and how to better represent our youth and our community. I think we're a very innovative city, and I feel like there's got to be a solution instead of a complete dissolution of the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bermudez. I do want to respond to your comment. And I wish you were at that meeting where we had the discussion, because we were very reluctant to actually dissolve the committee, but I don't think it's what you think it is. So what was happening, or the way it was described to us, is that meetings weren't taking place, things are being scheduled, and a lot of it was because it being an official committee, you guys were governed by sunshine. And it was almost like you can't make any decisions until you had an actual meeting under sunshine. And what we wanted to do is improve the program, improve the committee, but take the handcuffs off. So make it more of an ad hoc volunteer organization with the city's support in order to, foster youth and education throughout the city. So the entire intent is to make it better, to where you guys can actually get more done, because things weren't really getting done. So maybe Madam Clerk, you could pull the minutes from that meeting that we had, not in real time, obviously, and get them to Jennifer, but it was a really great discussion that we had, and it was all about making it better. It wasn't about killing it because it wasn't performing. It was how do we open the door in order to make you more successful. And that's kind of where we ended up. We're not killing this thing and burying it and never talking about it again. It was more about how do we make it better so that you guys can actually carry out the intent that you originally wanted. So that's where we are.
Is it okay if I speak again, or do I have to read?
Absolutely. I would love for you to speak again.
Okay.
Keep in mind, Mayor, there's a 3-minute limit, please.
It's okay. I'll allow it.
Oh, sorry.
Then that will require a vote of the council.
Can we allow her to respond?
Yeah. Yes.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, sir.
Can I have a motion to allow Ms.
Make a motion to allow her to speak for more than 3 minutes.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilman Martinez, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call. Councilwoman Valladolid,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries.
go ahead and respond, Ms. Bermudez.
Thank you for the opportunity and for the extra time. But I did want to respond to what you were saying. I appreciate that clarification. I do feel like what you said, there were roadblocks. The being able to seek, even funding or things like that for the committee, as well as because the Sunshine State laws really just kind of constrict the conversation that we can have outside of the committee. I think all of that took part in it. And I also think it was difficult to put things into plan, into action when you're having to ask for permission and wait for these meetings to take place. So I do appreciate the clarification. Thank you. And I think that that's going to give any members or anybody in the community interested in really helping education and youth in the city, maybe move forward in a different way that we can actually execute and follow through with some of the ideas and plans that we had.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for understanding, and I think it's going to be a lot better moving forward.
Thank you.
Good. Any other public comments?
Ms. Torres would like to go ahead and proceed with her comment. Ms. Torres, you can take the podium.
Hi, everybody. Alicia Torres, 5847 Whippoorwill Circle. I was hoping not to come up here all mad and, like I am, but I would like to strongly push back on the characterization that discussion on July 11th was good. To me, I thought it was a hot mess. I thought there were too many cooks in the kitchen. I thought there were people who didn't know anything about what this committee is supposed to be speaking up. For example, Councilmember Leonard, Mayor, you asked her opinion about the committee. She's not the liaison to the committee. The liaison is Mr. Langowski,
Sure.
Councilmember Langowski. So I don't know if he wasn't there. I was on vacation, so I just watched this on TV. But he's at the actual liaison. You spoke to Anita Kaplan, but Lisa Liriano is the chair of the committee. You were talking about the committee doing good, and that's one of very, very many things that this committee could do. I printed out the mission and purpose here. It doesn't say anything about backpack drives or doing good for the schools or the students or the community. I would see it as a step back as well. And honestly, I think it doesn't bode well. I think it's a black eye if we can't get one simple committee off the floor. We are not a fully realized city. We are brand new. And I hear the attorney, I get that it's your job to say, we can't do that, we can't do that, we can't do that. But we're in this mindset that we're this established city when we aren't. We need more support, more creativity, more flexibility. It would be nice to hear what we can do, for example. And getting the liaisons right, good leaders make good leaders too. So I think that we jumped immediately, and I get what you're saying, Mayor, that an ad hoc committee is an alternative, but we have ladies groups. We have social committees and the HOAs that do good. We need communication in both directions between the schools and the city and our parents. And I just think trying to make an ad hoc group would take any officialness out of the committee. So maybe they could do good unofficially, but it sounds just like more social committee stuff to me. So I would like you please to rethink, if it means bumping people out of the committee, again, flexibility, creativity is key now, but, getting new members, the liaison, I just talked to Paulette Edwards, who's the Village of Wellington's liaison to their education committee, which is highly successful, by the way. They do a ton. Then please do that. They have a meeting September 19th. Anyone curious can just show up, get ideas from there. Thank you. And I really thank you for all of your guys' time and work. I know it's, a lot. Right.
Appreciate your comment, Ms. Torres. Thank you. Guess we'll have a discussion when we get to that agenda item. Do we have any more public comments?
Mayor, we have a comment from Ms. Jackie Campbell. Ms. Campbell, please take the podium. Please state your name, your full name, and your address.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my topic today is golf carts. And I'm sure everyone here who lives in Rosedale, that's where I moved from, sorry. Because I was doing this in Rosedale, I'm sorry. Everyone who lives in Westlake we are having issues with this. I walk every day, just about, and I see young kids as young as 15, looks like 15, driving alone in golf carts with their friends. I'll be walking, and they're behind me. I don't know they're behind me. Only thing I know, they're right on top of me. They're in the street. They're all over the place. You know, everywhere you go, they're in the golf without parents. I think we need some kind of regulation. I don't know if there's any. Well, I don't know if it's been enforced, but I don't see anybody stopping these children. And you might say something to them and they look at you like you're crazy. So I think it's dangerous for them and for us. And something needs to be done by the council. So
So I'm just for information's sake, we do have actual ordinances that govern the use of golf carts in the city. They do state that you have to have a driver's license in order to drive them. So and then there's new state legislature that's about to come down, so changes all of that, but also echoes what I just said about having to have a physical driver's license in order to operate the golf cart. So it may be an enforcement issue. It's certainly not a rule issue because the rules are in place. But if they're not being enforced, then.
right. Can I add something else? So yesterday, as a matter of fact, I saw a 9-year-old, it looks like 8, 9. His dad, he was driving the golf cart. His father was in the golf car with him.
Yeah, so perhaps.
Okay, right here in
Public
Westlake.
information on the rules and certainly start enforcing them, but we do have the rules in place. So
I didn't know, I don't know. I just asking, I'm sure.
entire ordinance, it talks about everything from insurance to age and even times and headlights and daytime and nighttime. It's very, very detailed. So I believe it's an enforcement issue.
Okay, so please, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's on that side of me.
Yeah, oh, good. It's actually on the agenda.
That's it. Yeah.
Come on, Cap.
Just on that issue, each individual community is a private
Can I have you
community.
state your name for the record?
Captain Turner, PBSO. I don't live in Westlake. Each individual community is a private community. Basically, they can request that PBSO not even go into their communities to do patrols. Now, it's up to each individual community to make to allow us to
You're
commit an
referring to
enforcement.
behind the gates.
Yes, what's
Behind the
behind each
gates.
gate, not in the open areas out here, but behind each gate, inside the developments, they're all private communities. And each individual HOA for that community has to release to the sheriff's office what they would like us to do and what they don't want us to do. So I understand they want the enforcement in there, but that's something that each of if you live in certain communities and they don't really push for the sheriff's office to come in and actually stop the golf carts or do certain things behind the communities, that's up to the residents in there, I think, to go to their individual HOAs and say, hey, we need to look at this again. Because they do kind of stop us from being able to do some of the enforcement, which I'm sure you were going to talk about. Okay.
Yeah,
All right. No, absolutely. We do have deputies. They are told.
we
to
really
stop
can't
them.
have you guys talking back and forth and not on the podium.
But I'll just add to that. If it's outside the gated communities, then yes, our deputies are able to enforce it, and I'll make sure that they are.
Please. So, thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, you have any more public comments?
We'll give the virtual audience additional time to raise their virtual hand, Mayor. If you're a caller that has just joined and wish to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand or unmute your device. If you're a caller that has been muted, please press *6. Mayor, we have no additional comments.
Let's move forward with the consent agenda. This section of the agenda consists of routine or administrative items that require final approval by the city council and may be approved in its entirety by a single motion. There will be no discussion of these items unless a council member requests such, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered on a future agenda. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Valladon. Roll call. Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Valladon.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's move forward with proclamations. We have Palm Beach State College in the house. All right. Very excited to proclaim. All right. Whereas Palm Beach State College was founded in 1933 as Florida's first public two-year college and has continuously served the educational needs of Palm Beach County residents for 90 years, first as a junior college, then as a community college, and today as a state college. And whereas Palm Beach State College, since opening its doors on November 14th, 1933, as Palm Beach Junior College, has grown from 41 local students in 3 classrooms to 40,000 students from 151 countries and territories, studying on 5 campuses located in Boca Raton, Belle Glade, Lake Worth, Loxahatchee Groves, and Palm Beach Gardens, and online. And whereas Palm Beach State College, established during the Great Depression when there was no Institute of Higher Learning in Palm Beach County, is now an economic engine pumping $1.1 billion into county's economy each year. And whereas Palm Beach Junior College merged with Roosevelt Junior College in 1965, which was established in 1958, to serve African American students, whereas Palm Beach State College has been integral to the remarkable growth and prosperity of Palm Beach County. Our graduates, communities, business leaders for generations have impacted every industry and continue to do so today. And whereas Palm Beach State College, one of the top producers of associate degree graduates in the United States, also offers baccalaureate degrees, professional certificates, career training, corporate and continuing education. And whereas with more than 130 programs of study, Palm Beach State College is the county's leading educator of skilled professionals. Career programs span fields such as healthcare, computer science, business, biotechnology, creative arts, childcare, human services, teacher education, environmental science, landscape management, a wide variety of skilled trades, engineering, electrical power, and public safety. And whereas Palm Beach State College's mission of providing accessible student-centered teaching and learning experiences in academic, technical, and lifelong learning to transform lives and strengthen our community is crucial to the vitality of the city of Westlake. And whereas City of Westlake, Florida commemorates the 90th anniversary of Palm Beach State College with appreciation for its vital role as a provider of excellence in education and career training, and as a driver of economic mobility, partnership with community, Palm Beach County, and the state of Florida. I'm very excited. I'm gonna sign it right here.
Mayor, may I have permission to address the council?
Absolutely.
So my name is Kimberly Lancaster. I happen to be the campus administrator. I almost forgot what it was. Campus administrator of the Loxahatchee Groves campus and the academic dean for both the Loxahatchee Groves campus and the Belle Glade campus. I do have a few of my colleagues, including this photographer right here, that's here with me tonight. So if you're here from Palm Beach State College, would you please stand up so everyone can see you and know what great work that you're doing? And I will say, I don't want to reiterate all of the wonderful things that Mayor O'Connor has said about us, but what I will say is that, like the city of Westlake, our Loxahatchee Groves campus is also fairly new. We're 6 years young. But I will say to you that just like the commitment that Palm Beach State College has made for the last 90 years to Palm Beach County, we are making to the city of Westlake. And that's none more evident than we had the opportunity recently to embed 2 academic advisors into 2 high schools, our first one being Seminole Ridge High School, and our second one being at Wellington Community High School. And that's because we understand and appreciate the fact that because we're right here at your back door in Loxahatchee Groves, we consider you a major partner to our campus and to our institution. And regrettably, President Parker couldn't be here with us this evening, but you have Palmer instead, who is our mascot. And so we brought him along with us. So I just want you to all know that we're very appreciative of the proclamation And we are here to do good things and to partner with you as an educational partner for both your high schools, your schools, as well as your employers and your city and your citizens as well. So thank you.
Stay up. Free. Yeah.
Come on, if I gotta get out, picture.
Right? We're gonna need, we might need a number on that side.
We got Westlake. It's a great story.
We're still gonna need you guys to then that. Yeah.
I'd like to know.
Yes, there we go. Okay, I'm looking at this camera. Smile, perfect. And again, I'm gonna take a couple, make sure I get it. Big smiles. Perfect. And can I get one just with you, the Mayor Palmer and Dean Wiley? You want to stay in there too? Yeah, let's get one. Perfect, perfect, and one more. Smile. Perfect. Thank you.
Have a big blue bag.
Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Palm Beach State College. Okay. Constitution Week. This is a day of recognition and remembrance of drafting the Constitution of the United States of America. Whereas September 17th, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of the drafting of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize this magnificent document and the anniversary of its creation, and whereas it is fitting and proper to officially recognize patriotic celebration which will commemorate the occasion. Whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America, designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, does hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and ask our citizens to reaffirm the ideals of the framers of the Constitution in 1787 by diligently protecting the freedoms guaranteed to us through this guardian of our liberties, remembering that lost rights may never be regained. It's a good one. I'll clap for that.
So true.
Patriots Day. A day of remembrance of the lives lost and those who made the ultimate sacrifice to protect and serve. Whereas over 20 years ago, on September 11th, 2001, the entire nation was shaken and altered due to the sudden and brutal attacks by terrorists who hijacked 4 civilian aircrafts, leaving thousands of innocent Americans dead and injured. Whereas that September morning, the enemy made its attempt to tear at the fabric of our society by attacking innocent civilians and our infrastructure. Rescue workers and firefighters made no hesitation when selflessly entering darkness and danger. Amid horror and tragedy, our nation remained unified and resilient. And in the spirit that moved rescue workers and firefighters to charge into darkness and danger that September morning, our nation was united to stand strong and show its resilience in the face of tragedy. The enemy attempted to tear at the fabric of our society by destroying our buildings and murdering our innocent, but our strength did not and will not waver. And whereas on this anniversary, all citizens of Westlake are urged to observe a moment of silence to honor those who were lost as a result of the attacks and are encouraged to thank our nation's incredible service members and first responders, many of whom are on the front lines of our fight against terrorism. We will always remember the sacrifices made in defense of our people, our country, and our freedom. Now, therefore, the City Council of the City of Westlake, Florida, does hereby proclaim September 11th, 2023, as a day of remembrance, honoring those who are no longer with us, while giving thanks to our first responders that continue to make these sacrifices for the betterment of our country and to reinstall the core values of this nation that unifies us all together. Be it proclaimed. Let's all take that moment of silence on September 11th. Okay. Last proclamation. Declaring September of 2023 as Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month with 211. Whereas it is nationally recognized that suicide deaths have been on the increase, and last year, 211's dedicated and highly trained staff responded to nearly 127,000 requests for help from 5 county areas. One of these, close to 49,000 people had mental health. Of these, close to 49,000 people had mental health and substance use concerns, with 4,323 people requesting help with a suicide crisis. And whereas the ensuing health, economic, and housing crisis has more recently taken its toll on mental health, with increases in suicide, ideation, and deaths, substance use, household violence, food insecurity, and more. Whereas there is a call for a public health response to increase suicide intervention and prevention efforts with increased community level efforts and strategies. And whereas 211 is the central access point providing individuals and families with guidance and crisis support via telephone or text any time of day or night, and continue as a regional responder for the newly branded national 988 suicide and crisis lifeline number. And whereas 211's highly trained and caring staff work 24 hours a day, saving lives, de-escalating, stabilizing people in mental health or suicide crisis, and also guiding people struggling with substance use disorder to connect with any help they need. Now, therefore, on behalf of 211, the City Council, and the people of the City of Westlake, I, John Paul O'Connor, Mayor of the City of Westlake, by virtue of the authority vested in me, declare and recognize September 2023 as Suicide Awareness and Prevention Month. And I urge all citizens to be aware of the only telephone number they need to know to access information on over 1,600 agency providers with wide-ranging programs, services throughout our area that include food assistance, mental health care, health clinics, growth and development screenings, special need resources, elder and crisis assistance, daily calls to check on seniors, caregiver support, and veteran services and more. Heavy proclamations this meeting, guys. We have someone from 211 here to receive the proclamation. Absolutely. Please just state your name and for the record.
Hello, everybody. I'm Patrice Schroeder, Community Relations Specialist for 211 Helpline. I actually reside in West Palm Beach, Florida, but I am grateful to be here. The good news is that the people that are reaching out to us, we are able to save their lives. We're able to help them. We average about 350 calls per day. Of that, 11 on average are a suicide crisis or somebody concerned about somebody they love that is in a crisis. So I encourage people to recognize that 211 or the 988 number, our highly trained staff respond to both of those. So we've been in this community for over 50 years as a crisis line and a helpline. So we continue that, and the 988 is just one more layer of added protection that people can dial at any time. So we're here 24/7. We also have a text messaging function. They can go to 898-211, where they can text their zip code. So if a younger person is more comfortable texting, they can do that as well. So it's very simple for people to reach out to us. And a lot of times, as we mentioned, housing is a big issue. That's not a surprise in our community, but we can help alleviate some of the other stressors. We can help them with food, help them to find free clinics, help them to find services for an elder parent or a child with a disability. So we're there to help people engage with other community service providers. But I want to thank you for allowing me this opportunity to speak. I do have some collateral material on the desk here, and I know you have a full agenda, but thank you so much.
Thank you for all you do. You. Heavy proclamations. Moving on to more exciting things like the first budget hearing. We have before us Resolution 2023-22. City Attorney, read by title, please.
Respectfully, Mr. Mayor, I would ask that you and the city council consider a tentative millage rate on a separate motion, then we'll incorporate it into the resolution.
Sure, we should
Sir,
consider the millage rate
first.
I'll make a comment. At our budget workshop, I challenged staff who were very resistant on lowering this millage rate. And they found the money. And it's our biggest reduction that we've ever had in terms of millage rate. It's gone, the proposed millage rate is from 5.1 to 5. We went from 5.1250 to 5.1. So we shaved 0.250 off on our 0.0250 off on our first reduction. Right. This is going from 5.1 to 5.0, which is no small feat. So I want to congratulate staff and thank staff for sharpening the pencil and finding it.
We found some more revenue.
Well, I'm glad you found it and didn't find more expenses. So finding more revenue is good. So I would love to entertain a motion setting the tentative millage rate to 5.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, if I could the city manager also give us some more pertinent information?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. The proposed millage rate of 5.0 is greater than the rollback rate of 4.1933.
I'm sorry,
4.1993. And the trim rate is a actual increase of property taxes of 19.06% above the rollback rate. The rollback rate is a rate that it generate the exact amount of money that you had the year before based upon your new values.
Right.
And since everything has gone up with inflation and other things, the 19% increase is appropriate.
The millage rate is
The
going.
millage rate is 5.0.
Okay.
And it will give us the amount of dollars that we've proposed in the budget of what you needed.
And the next time we do this, I want to see it in the force.
We'll see what comes online.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if you'd entertain the motion on your millage rate.
I'll entertain the motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the tentative millage rate of 5.0 for our 2024 budget.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call, Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bayadon,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Resolution by title only, a resolution, City Council of the City of Westlake adopting a tentative millage rate of 5.0 for the city's general operating fund for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, ending on September 30th, 2024, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date. If you would entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
I will entertain that motion to adopt Resolution 2023-22.
Motion to adopt 20,
Well, do we have any comments from the council first?
No comment?
No comment.
And should we entertain comments from the public?
Yes, sir, you need to have a public hearing.
Let's open up for public hearing and before we adopt the motion and see if there's any comments from the public on this item.
Mayor received no previous comment cards prior to the meeting. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise the virtual hand or unmute their device stating their name and address. If you're a caller that has been muted, please press *6. We have no comments, Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. If we have, let's go ahead, no public comments. Let's close the public hearing, and if there's no further discussion, now I would like to entertain a motion to adopt.
motion to adopt resolution 2023-22.
Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Bayadon, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bayadon,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, if you might allow me to publicly announce for the record that the operating millage adopted, excuse me, the tentative millage is greater than the rollback rate of 4.1993 by 19.06%. It is also important to understand that you will have another public hearing to be held at 6 p.m. on the 12th day of September, 2023 in the Westlake Community Center located at 400 Seminole Pratt Whitney Road, Westlake. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Let's move on. Resolution 2023-23. City Attorney, will you read by title?
Yes, sir. Resolution by title only, a resolution, City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, adopting a tentative budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023 and ending September 30th, 2024, determining and fixing the amounts necessary to carry on the government of the city for the ensuing year, determining the amount of applicable funds on hand, estimated receipts and expenditures for all funds, Exhibit A, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. City Manager, do you want to expand on this?
No, Mr. Mayor, just as an update on, as was stated, we found several items. We got some updates and some projection on the revenues, which helped us to be able to trim it from the 5.1 to the 5.0. These things happen as you're coming in with preliminary budgets, you're coming in with estimates from the state, from the county, all your revenue sources. As you get closer to the final budget, they get better numbers and for our projections. So based upon those, we were able to do what we did.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you tightening the belt there. Any comments from the council?
Okay.
No comment.
Let's open the public hearing. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comments?
Mayor received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. Mayor, we have no comments.
If there are no further comments, I'll close the public hearing. And if there's no further discussion, may I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept resolution 2023-23, resolution of the City Council, City of Westlake, adopting a tentative budget for fiscal year beginning October 1st, ending September 30th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Leonard, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call, Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vigueron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
And if I can just ask council to please bring down their mics for the record. Thank you.
Mine's already down. All right. We have before us planning and zoning application, MSP 2023-05 for a site plan modification for Groves Marketplace. City Attorney,
Yes, sir.
by title, let's swear in some witnesses.
All those individuals going to testify during this proceeding, please raise your right hand and be sworn. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
Please proceed.
do.
Mr. Mayor, this is an application, Gentile Holloway, O'Malley and Associates for a site plan modification to modify the existing Grove Market at Westlake Shopping Plaza.
Good evening. For the record, Osniel Leon, Senior Planner for the City of Westlake. Before you is application. Sorry, the spring went off. It's SBM 2023-05. There we go. Named Westlake Point at Grove Market. It's a site plan modification. Went up again. There we go. This is the general location of the subject site. The applicant is requesting approval of a site plan modification. The site is fronting Seminole Pratt Whitney Road. The subject site is approximately 9.98 acres. Has a future land use of downtown mixed use and a zoning district of mixed use. It's an existing shopping plaza. Some background on the site. Grove Market Shopping Plaza was built by Steels Corp. in 1999. In June 14, 2021, the City Council approved the site plan modification to allow an upgrade to the entire architectural facade of the property. On June 14, 2021 as well, the City Council approved a site plan modification to allow an upgrade to the 49,610 square foot Winn-Dixie grocery store and a 2,536 square foot liquor store, for a total of 52,145 square feet. On August 9, 2021, the City Council approved with conditions a master signage plan to allow an upgrade to all the wall signs on the property, as well as monument signs and tenant signs. October 8, 2021, City Council also approved application SPR 2021-08 to upgrade the landscaping plan, improvements to the parking area and the dumpster enclosures, and also a covered walking area. Again, this is the previously approved site plan, has a total of 86,852 square feet. It has multiple buildings, which totals this 86,852. And the subject application is only focusing on building D, which is on the corner. Again, the applicant is requesting site plan modification to increase the previously approved square footage for building D from 3,675 square feet to 8,317 square foot one-story building. to allow retail and medical office use. The proposed modification increases the total overall square footage from 86,852 to 91,494. Again, the site plan modification is only for building D, which is a one-story, 8,317 square foot structure for retail medical office. It's also adding 3 low-speed electric vehicles for a total of 25 spaces and providing a total of 409 vehicle spaces for the overall shopping plaza. This is the location of building D, which is right on the corner. The application complies with all the mixed-use zoning districts for required setbacks, lot coverage, and pervious percentage. The applicant has provided elevations for the proposal. On top is the north elevation, and the bottom picture is the south elevation of the building. The application has been reviewed for drainage, traffic, and fire safety. And these are the existing conditions of the plaza as current. This is another picture. Staff does recommend approval of the request with no conditions of approval. Thank you.
Is there a presentation from the applicant?
Yes. Good evening. For the record, George Gentile, president of 2JHO Inc. We are the landscape architects and planners for the project. We actually did the last 2 modifications that you did on the Grove Market project. The Grove Market project was an MUPD that was approved in Palm Beach County back in 1997, built in 1999, as Anil indicated. And this was one of the out parcels that was on that MUPD plan that was originally approved, and we're here tonight to finally get a building going on that property. So hopefully I'm hitting the right button. There we go. So we're asking for a site plan modification to the overall master plan for Grove Market. But this application is for just the out parcel on parcel D, which is at the corner of Persimmon and Seminole Pratt Whitney. It's for an 8,317 square foot, 1-story building that will be used for retail and or medical office. We've shown on your map where it is. I know you have a long agenda, so we'll keep going. This is an aerial of the overall location. You can see the red circle. That is where the out parcel D is. That's been on the MUPD plan, right at the intersection in the corner. Oops. And again, this is a little bit close up, and it shows the footprint of the proposed building going on the corner. I have some other site plans. This is the overall Grove Market Shopping Center, and you can see again how the out parcel relates to the parking lot between the Winn-Dixie area and the rest of the commercial area, as well as the project. I'm going to zoom in on that if I could, hopefully. Maybe not.
I don't think you'll be able to.
Is that?
You're not going to be able to.
I'm not going to be able to?
No.
Uh-oh. Are you able to
zoom it on my screen?
What do I do? Just
keep going.
Just keep going? Okay, I'm sorry. Well, you were able to see the elevations that your planning staff provided you for the main access to main visibility to the intersection. We've met all the conditions that you have in your code. We've exceeded the setbacks, and we are meeting and exceeding your landscape code for the project. We think it's going to be a great addition to the center as well as to the area. provide a little bit more revenue for that budget that you all just approved. And we would ask for your approval, and we're here to answer any questions. And I would reserve any amount of my time that if I need to rebut anything. So thank you very much.
You can you enlighten us on potential tenants? that might be
Um,
going in there?
We don't have any tenants specifically. We have a lot of interest, both in medical office, medical doctors and other medical services. And we also have retail people. So there's a lot of activity, particularly for this corner. So,
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you.
and again, I'll be glad to answer any questions. And thank you so much for the opportunity.
Any comments from the council?
No comment.
Does this building qualify for signage on the roadside as well as the plaza side?
Yes. Oh, yes, our parcels are, have their own signage allowed.
So to get both sides.
Concerned about on the Seminole Pratt approach side, is there signage or is it just on the inside?
On Seminole Pratt.
So to get both signs.
Oh, you mean two signs? No, it's only one sign.
So
Sorry.
the plaza side?
It's going to be the plaza overall, and this parcel also will have its own signage.
What?
So the signage on the building would be on the plaza side, not on the Seminole Pratt side, either or, correct?
It could be either or.
But not both.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
So if it's on the Seminole Pratt side, then with the entrance, where do you
Be harder to find the entrance. on
park
the
and
other
walk
side.
in from the parking lot side? So how do you know if there's no signs where you're walking into?
Could be a glass signage, I guess.
In the door?
Yeah, the door, but it wouldn't have the overhead.
I mean, the Seminole Pratt sign
Do you
is
have other
necessary
signage?
because people need to know from the road. So,
If we can go back to the elevation, there's signage arch displayed.
I got it. Pick
Pull up my presentation.
let's take a look at that. It's a great question, Council.
So as you can see on top of the tenant base, you see the blank spaces. Those are the tenant signage.
But then so the signs go in front of the parking spots, but then there's nothing.
There's a few, there's two
Oh, I see.
facing Seminole.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
So there are entrances on that side as well. As you can see, there's a walkway,
Mhm.
5-foot walkway going around from the parking lot
What's
to
that?
those tenants.
What's this little architectural trellis looking for? Is that just for decor or is that associated?
Yes, it's an architectural element.
Trigger signage.
Yes, I'm sorry, if I could briefly, the previous master's signage plan addressed the signage on this site, and there's a small pylon or monument sign that is going to be a part, so it'll be visible to the public. Okay.
I don't remember seeing it. So was that done a long time ago? I don't remember seeing a signage plan for that.
2021.
2021.
2021, there was a master signage plan approval for the site.
Seeing it, but okay.
Can you speak to, are these additional 25 parking spaces or for the LSEV golf carts?
It's the additional is 3 for a total of 25.
Total.
25.
Yes.
Okay.
But these spots exist currently or they don't exist?
There are spaces along the parking lot, but I believe they're adding more. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, the EV.
No, I'm talking about the spots that I'm looking at this elevation.
Yes.
Spots, the parking spots are there.
The parking spots are there. It's modified slightly to make sure we meet handicap and ramping requirements. We've added 3 more golf cart parking spaces. This was part of the original parking plan for the project, and there is still a total of 44 spaces that are still not used. The requirement for all that's there now with the exception, well, there's a 4,000 square foot addition on the retail side, the Winn-Dixie portion of not Winn-Dixie itself, but that building that's been approved already in the master plan. They haven't built it yet. There was parking allocated for that. And then the parking for this project, the requirement is 385 spaces and there's 409 spaces. So there's actually another 24 spaces available on the site.
After the
addition, after this building D is done and the addition is done, whenever the owner of the shopping center does that 4,000, there's still another 24, which equates in the parking requirements to about another 5,700 square feet that they could put into the project. Okay?
But these 25 spots are
Yes.
dedicated.
Yes.
This-
Yeah, I've been working on the Grove Market for quite a long time. When Crossman was managing it before Westlake.
I mean, in all reality though,
there's more.
Yes, these spots are going to be used because they're directly in front of the
That's
building,
correct.
but people can really park wherever they want.
Wherever they want. Yeah, it's cross parking agreement. Yeah. Okay. It's an MUPD that was approved in the county and they had a minimum maximum parking and we're meeting the requirements of everything. So.
Thank you.
We have any comments from council? Let's open up for public hearing. Do we have any public comment?
Mayor, received no previous comment cards. However, Ms. Torres just raised her hand.
Hi, Alicia Torres, 5847 Whippoorwill Circle. Councilman Martinez, good point about the signage. I'm curious about the street signage. There's one Grove Market, it's like a big block sign that has the individual stores listed. Same on Persimmon, there's a similar sign. I also am curious where delivery is going to happen, and I'm also curious about how you're going to hide the rear of the building so we aren't just looking at, heavy duty doors and meters and whatnot. Thank you.
There's a meter room. So electronic meter room here, there's nothing on the outside.
You want me to point out?
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah, please do.
I didn't, just want to make sure I was
I'm
proper
curious also.
code and etiquette here. We have all four sides of the building. If you'll look at the elevations, which unfortunately I couldn't bring up from my presentation, the side facing the intersection looks almost like a storefront as well, but it'll be heavily landscaped. There's a landscape buffer that goes around the entire corner, meeting all the site distance requirements, but is heavily landscaped. So
Even the back of the building, in essence, which looks like the front of the building.
it looks like the front of the building on both sides, and the sides also do look. It's all storefront, and but the entrance, the real entrance, is from the parking lot. There is a walkway that's available on the other side, on the intersection side, but it's mainly for emergency exiting the building.
Can
So,
you speak on intended deliveries?
we don't think it'll be a problem. They will be. We have an area on the one side where the golf cart spaces are that they'll be able to use. We don't anticipate a lot of deliveries to a medical office. It's mostly maybe a van pickup if there's medical use of medical waste or medical testing or whatever that might do, but we don't anticipate there would be a problem. So, okay.
Can I ask?
And there is loading in the shopping area too. Yeah.
Councilwoman?
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No, don't worry.
Okay.
How many stores you think it will cover this building?
I don't know, two or three, maybe three. Yeah.
Okay.
There could be a three, but if somebody takes the building as a one space or two space, they could do that as well. It's going to be a shell.
Okay.
So that they could actually design the interior on how they want, chop it up, or it could be in whole. Yes.
But at most, you're anticipating
I-
around 3 or so?
Yeah, I think Mr. Stevenson would love to have one tenant that would take care of the whole building. We don't know if that'll happen. So,
Oh, okay.
yes.
And if they divide it in three, do you have the square feet?
No, because we don't know who the tenants are. If there's 8,000 square feet, we could have 2,500 square feet, or it could be somebody may want 4,000 and there's only a little bit left for two other units. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Are there any more
Comments from anyone?
Mayor, you have a comment from Mr. Aaron Williams with Greenspoon Martyr. Mr. Williams, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you very much. My name is Aaron Williams. I represent Grove Market, the owner of the plaza. And like was said earlier during the applicant's presentation, there is a 4,000 square foot future retail space, which is Building B, that my client does intend to develop. Now, that already has parking set for it. But additionally, my client is in the process of submitting an application for another out parcel for this development. That would be a bank development that will require parking as well. One of the issues that we've had in getting that application in is there's been a lot of uncertainty about what the parking ratios are necessary to be for the development at the plaza. So what we are here today to do is not to oppose this development, but just to ensure that the correct parking numbers are going to be used so that my client has the ability to submit its own applications and ensure that the right parking ratios are going to be done so there's adequate parking both for the applicant here and then for my client as well when it develops both Building B, which is already anticipated, and also the bank out parcel that it will be submitting an application for also. So we appreciate the council just hearing what the future plans are for the plaza in addition to what the applicant is putting forth, and just ensuring that there's going to be adequate parking available for everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, just
Thank you.
very briefly, we appreciate the gentleman not opposing the project. As I indicated earlier, there's 409 spaces on the site with the additional ones that we're putting in. There's 385 required for what's built and the 4,000 square feet. So there's another 24. It's one space per 240 square feet. If you take that, it comes out to about 5,100 square feet, another 5,100 square feet. If it's a bank building, I can't believe that they'll be over 5,000 square feet, but I mean, they could, but they have enough room to do that. So, okay.
This is first reading.
No, sir, it's quasi judicial, so the approval, that's it.
Yeah.
Staff has no qualms about parking, is very confident that there's going to be sufficient parking for everyone.
The application before you, it's providing 409 parking spaces. The requirement is about 385 right now. So as it is right now, it exceeds the required parking count. Once we have this new application, then we'll analyze it, and we have to determine how many parking spaces are they going to take off, because it's going to be over the existing parking spaces. But as of right now, the application before you, it exceeds the parking count.
Okay. Are there any other public comments?
Mayor, we have no additional comments.
At this time, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, if you have had any ex parte communications, would you state that for the record, please?
The owner of the plaza did contact me and express his concerns about parking. So that did take place. Basically echoes exactly what his counsel just said on the call, that he's concerned that his, that there's going to be sufficient parking for everything, including his future development. And I basically assured him that the parking ordinances were clear and written, and that staff is going to abide by whatever the ordinance is. So that really is my question to staff: does this fall within the guidelines of the ordinance?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Again,
based upon our parking ordinance, there would be enough spaces left for another 5,000 square foot building to be built
What space?
with the spaces that are currently in place.
Is that the case?
Yes.
You have room for another 5,000 square feet building, including spots.
The square footage that have been approved as of right now exceeds the required spaces. However, if a new application comes in and takes away parking spaces, then that throws up the number, depending on how many spaces the new application will take away to place the other building. Now, this other building was not part of this master plan. All these buildings that you see here, that has been approved from the beginning. This site was approved in the county, and it was incorporated, annexed into the city. We grandfather all the regulations and parking and things of that nature. But the existing all the buildings that you see here have already been approved, accounted for, and this application is only expanding Building D. So the Building D was already approved. It's just expanding, and since the site was, you can say overparked, it allows these expansions, and it still has parking left over. Like I said, we have to, when the new application comes in, when we have a plan in front of us, then we can determine if that future application will meet the parking count. So right now, we don't have all the information to tell you this many applications will accommodate the parking.
I just want to be very clear for the record. We're very pro-growth. I have constituents all day, every day, begging me for stuff. We need more stuff, including medical office. Like it's a priority for the city. We're not going to inhibit the growth, but we also have a responsibility. And the gym.
And again, the zoning code does allow for deviations of the requirements. They can ask for variances, waivers, and things like that. But again, we can determine that now without all the information.
We want to be very pro-growth, but we have a responsibility to do it right.
I have a question, Mr. Mayor. The 400.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can any other members of the council have an ex parte communication?
I have none.
No.
Okay, I'm sorry, just to complete that process.
Neil, the 409, is that based upon the county's so much per square feet, and we're still using that, or is
Yes.
that based upon our new?
The counties, we are grandfathered this development, so we're not touching any of the parking calculations, because even the spaces are different than one that code requires.
Yeah.
But we could if we needed to.
Right. Just,
We have home rule.
I'm thinking flexibility. If we have our parking requirements are a little bit different. Yes, our spaces are a little bit larger, but we could possibly be able to accommodate the other out parcel as well within our existing code to make it happen.
Spaces or something.
Yeah.
What is the difference in parking from the county to ours?
Some depths there.
County has larger ones, we have smaller ones.
They had a little bit smaller ones. They approved some smaller ones on this site. Which,
So county approves smaller, but we prefer the larger one.
correct.
Okay.
A lot of counties did that when they went to compact car spaces to cram them in, and they don't really work. But this kind of functions.
What you're saying is we have baked in flexibility to where we don't have.
Potentially, we have some, when the other application comes in, we have the ability to go back and massage it and look at it very carefully to possibly figure out how to make it work.
Very good. Thank you. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve MSP 2023-05.
A second.
I have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call, Councilwoman Veyron.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, council members, thank you so much. We'll get it built as quickly as we can.
2024 budget.
We have, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We have before us ordinance 2023-03 for first reading. Mr. City Attorney, read by title.
Yes, sir. Ordinance by title only, an ordinance of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, amending an ordinance number to be determined and set forth in the city's code of ordinances, provide for the creation of section to be determined to be entitled Medical Marijuana Treatment Center, dispensing facilities prohibited, providing for purpose and findings, prohibiting medical marijuana treatment center dispensing facilities within the city of Westlake, providing for codification, conflict, severability, and effective date.
Mr. City Manager, further explanation, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council. Currently, we have none of these ordinances that are coming before you currently with nothing on the books. Somebody can come in, set it down. It is better at this point in time for us to prohibit certain types of businesses at this point in time, and then you can allow them at a later date with, under special conditions in the particular zones. But without anything on the plate, somebody can come in and overrun you in a heartbeat. So that's why we're bringing these forward at this time, to give you protection and the residents protection as to what you want the city to ultimately be at the point of time versus getting overrun by either any of these particular type of businesses.
No, and this, this is evident in the public, there's the cities that didn't have these ordinances in place. You've got one in every single corner directly across from each other, and two in the same plaza.
Yeah.
Because you can't prevent it. In our case, having this in place, we could allow on a one by one basis.
Correct.
Any comments from the council?
How do we know when an applicant comes up?
Come before us.
No,
I mean, we don't hear about every business that wants to come in. That's why, how do we know?
Well, they'll come in through planning and zoning, and since it's prohibited, they would have to come
They have to be very persistent and
Yeah.
very serious.
to come in to do it, to make forth, they'll go through planning and zoning to make sure they're in the right zoning for the business, BTRs, et cetera, and then they would come before council as a condition of use.
Got it.
Excuse me, I'm not sure I understand that answer.
Sorry. They would end up going to P and Z. Right now, they would be
No,
prohibited.
it's prohibited. There's not going to be any action. Nothing's coming before the city council.
But if somebody came in, their first step would be inquiring with the city.
And they would be told it's prohibited
Prohibited.
by staff.
And if they pushed it.
End of story.
It would never come before us?
Correct.
That's why I was saying not
You
every
don't go
business comes
through,
forward.
you don't go through a process with a prohibited use. You don't have the discretion to approve it when it's prohibited.
So
So we would
Now
have.
I'm
to change-
confused,
so we'd
because
have
it's
to
the opposite
change-
of what you just said.
Correct me if I'm wrong, we'd have to change it at a later date, correct?
You can modify this ordinance to expand on what the city manager says. This particular type of business is regulated under state statute. You probably read about it. State statute recently enacted allowing for them. It gives municipalities and counties an option to allow them with certain regulations or prohibit them. The ordinance before you tonight prohibits them. So you will not be seeing an application for a medical marijuana dispensary. They're prohibited per se.
ever.
Unless you or a future council wishes to amend this ordinance, under which time you would have to comply with the state statute and treat them like a pharmacy. And you can regulate distances, but we would have to modify this ordinance. And it's been my recommendation to make them a conditional use at that time. So you can impose additional restrictions. But right now, you are considering an ordinance which will prohibit them.
Well, council?
What's this?
No.
So if they're prohibited and they're not allowed to come before the city staff will just tell them no, flat out. So that,
Right, staff can't process an application that's prohibited use.
so then they're coming to the council to ask for, let's say.
No.
like,
No,
They have there's no avenue for them to petition the council.
no.
Very strong no.
Yeah, it's all in or all out.
But you said that the council could bring it back up.
You have to change the
So
ordinance
that's my point.
and lift the prohibition.
So where does that person come? Or do they come to the mayor? Do they go to the town manager and say, we
They
want?
can call you up and discuss, but it doesn't, they need to, you would initiate that ordinance change.
Guys,
That was just for clarification.
I think it's a nightmare, because if staff can only follow their rules, right? If they have the ability to apply, then we may end up in a position where we have one on every single corner. Because, and I like to say this all the time, we can't control who the landowner sells his land to. We cannot, as a council, we have no influence on who leasor
Right. From
chooses to be his tenant if it falls within the guidelines. So.
Unless we have extremely strict guidelines, if we wanted to
in
allow.
theory, Groves Plaza can put one every other door.
Right, because we don't have any
If
regulation.
we don't have this in place.
Okay, but my question is, can it be regulated that in certain square feet or can it be only one?
prohibited.
Because I am a nurse and I have a lot of patients that they need it. Because they have cancer, they have diseases, and it's medication. It's not like a pot, it's a pill.
Understood. I know people personally who use it medically. But you know what? There's places that are 10 minutes away
They can go
There's
get
in Westlake,
There's actually 5 of them. I looked it up. So there's 2 in Wellington, 1 in Royal Palm.
and some of
2
them
in
probably
North Palm,
deliver.
So,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, because our city is very
We
little.
have 6.5
Yeah.
square miles.
So, yeah.
How are our hands tied as far as regulation on these buildings?
You don't regulate, they can't,
It's prohibited.
It's either yes or no.
correct.
Okay.
If you do not adopt this ordinance and want to allow them, then that ordinance would come back with regulatory scheme that you would consider. Only if you allow them are you afforded the opportunity to regulate them.
That's what I'm asking.
Under this ordinance, there's no regulation. It's a strict prohibition.
Correct. I'm saying.
If this ordinance passes on first and second reading, Westlake will not allow any medical marijuana facilities within its municipal boundaries. If you want them, then ask me to come back with a different ordinance.
Let's open up for public comment.
Mayor received,
I really would like to hear opinions.
Mayor received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand.
This is only first reading.
You have a comment from Daryl Bach. Mr. Bach, please unmute your device, state your full name and your address.
Hello, my name's Daryl Bach, 15787 Crestwood Place. I'm in favor of this ordinance until such time the city council comes up with restrictions for these types of businesses, and then would go ahead and vote to go ahead and change the ordinance at that point in time. But to operate without any sort of, any sort of prohibition against these establishments, I don't think is wise for the city council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bach.
Mayor, you have a comment from Annie Tapiero. Ms. Tapiero, please go ahead. You have 3 minutes. Please state your address. Ms. Tapiero, you may go ahead.
So sorry, I had him muted. Yes, Annie Rodriguez Tapiero, 5991 Whippoorwill. I'm very much in agreement with this ordinance. Most of the young people that I know, they actually use medical marijuana, but really they don't need the medical marijuana. They just simply find a way to use it. So I think if we don't have to have this in our city, because there's others very close by, then that's the way we should go. Very much in agreement with this ordinance. Thank you.
Any more public
Did you
comment,
hear?
Madam Clerk?
Did
Thank you,
did
Mrs.
guys hear?
Tapia.
Piero.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the virtual audience that wishes to make a comment? If you're a caller that has been muted, please press *6, state your name and address. You have 3 minutes. Mayor, there are no additional comments.
Okay. And motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the first reading of ordinance 2023-03, prohibiting medical marijuana treatment center dispensing facilities in the city.
A second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call. Vice Mayor Langowski. Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Belladron.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
No weed in Westlake.
I don't know about that, but.
We have before us ordinance 2023-04 for first reading. City Attorney, please read by title.
Yes, sir. An ordinance by title only, an ordinance of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, amending the city's code of ordinances by revoking ordinance number 2020-05 and 2020-10 for the purpose of dissolving the Education Youth Advisory Board, providing for the revocation, the appointment of board members, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this was brought up a while ago, and as it was currently, as you explained earlier, as it was currently constituted, created problems. Nothing was really occurring. The flexibility that the committee had was tied up by sunshine. Better ways to figure out how to have public input into the local schools is a better solution.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. I want us to discuss this because there's been some concerns. Primarily, I'd like to hear from the actual liaison, Mr. Vice Mayor, and I want to hear your opinions. I did think we had a pretty fruitful discussion when we talked about this, but let's talk about it again.
So a couple things. One thing is, as the liaison, I'm not a board member of the advisory committee, and I don't have a vote, and I don't sit on the audience. The issue that for me was the non-meeting of the group. I can't force them to meet. I can't, there's sunshine. For me, it was the lack of their ability to meet. So there's things that come about with that. I want to see something happen. I know Ms. Kaplan came up at the last meeting and mentioned she wants to start a whole committee, involve the current members of the council on that, and open it up to more of the community to get more involved with the schools. And it's really the tying in the hands of Sunshine. They can't meet, they can't talk to each other, they can't. So this way it opens it up that there's more participation.
They couldn't get a meeting, they couldn't even get themselves in a room to meet.
No, I mean, I would meet every month if they wanted to meet.
Which means things weren't getting done. And having the ability to just pick up the phone and call each other and create grassroots almost movements in terms of helping youth in education would have. When I spoke to some of the individual members, they echoed the exact same frustrations. You can't get people to meet. Some people are on the committee, but they don't show up. They don't care. Other of them were passionate, but they couldn't meet, and they can't talk to each other, and their hands were being tied by sunshine. So that's why we came up with the decision to dissolve and maybe go a different route. Do we have any other comments from the council? Because I have a feeling we're gonna have some public comments.
So now what is the plan moving forward as far as relationship with the schools and?
Form or encourage the public to form a youth advisory organization to which, they can come to the city for support. And we would gladly support, but this way they can actually talk to each other
Exactly.
in order to be able to get things done.
And I don't mind attending those meetings, and then I can report back or
that would be
go back
great
to the school board, or I have no problem with that.
Yeah, taking off the handcuffs, having freedom to speak to each other.
Call each other.
Yeah. You, I mean, we understand it up here. We can't just call each other, and I can only imagine there. It's just,
I'll have to say another concern was, we have a lot of students in Westlake and they go through 7 different schools. They're not all just, at Seminole Ridge or at the elementary school. So that was another problem of jurisdictional issues. This allows them to participate in every school that's surrounding our area that students are participating in, rather than just focusing on, we have 3 schools and that's it. Because we do have students and families that go to various other schools outside of our jurisdiction.
What? Since you've been the liaison, what have you seen the committee produce?
Not much. It's been talk. So if they meet infrequently, by charter was under court. And so you're meeting you can always meet more than if you wanted to. The chair would welcome that meeting. They could have it every month. They could have it every week.
Right.
It's up to them. But when you so if they decide on something that has to come back before the council, then that's another quarter before they meet again. Then we bring that back to them, and then they have to come back to the council and just delayed so many things that they wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, even for us, it takes 2 readings and 6 months to get anything done.
So then by then the school year's over, and they had some great ideas about, honoring teachers of the year or teachers of the month, but it would come back to the council, then go back to them, and vice versa.
Can I say something?
I was about to solicit some public comment. If there's anybody who's on the actual committee that's here that could opine on the issue and help add some clarity.
Yes, Anita Kaplan, 5459 Santa Rosa Lane, Westlake, Florida. I've been on the committee now, it's over a year. And I think in the year we met maybe twice. And when we did meet, there would be like one person sometimes who was new. I forget her name. There was a new member that was added at the very last meeting that we had. I was very frustrated about it. I think because I've been talking to for some time about this. And the frustration was the inability to even call the chair of the committee. I wasn't the chair or the vice chair. There was a vice chair. And I was told I couldn't call. So I really felt that my hands were tied. I think early on there were some ideas. I think the last actual activity was when we collected backpacks for, I think, last September, not this September, at the Adventure Park. But other than that, there was nobody showing up. And I find it a little frustrating that people are hearing that it was dissolved and why did we dissolve it, yet there's no participation of the members. Not even a phone call to you or to anybody about what's going on. So I wonder why people are so frustrated. I hope that now, when we reach out, we get some members and that we can meet at the Adventure Park.
Is it your opinion that kind of rebooting it as more of a volunteer organization where you guys can just freely call each other and aren't governed by sunshine? Would that be a better format?
I think so. I did talk with Charlotte Leonard and I explained, kind of what was going on. And actually, it seemed to be sort of out there amongst other people because I would talk to other people that I knew that were involved in, committees and ask if the sunshine laws applied. And there was some mixed reports about that. So that's why I talked to Charlotte graciously. And then she spoke with Attorney Duty and the sunshine laws do apply.
They do.
So we were, really stuck in terms of even trying to get those people who were on the committee. Where have you been? I couldn't even do that. Now, I don't know if that's going to help or not with some people, maybe not. But I think by reaching out to the broad community, there's at least an awareness that we're trying to do something helpful with the schools in the area. And yes, I agree with the people that said, it would be a shame if we're not doing anything. But I think we're trying to do something rather than, what are we going to do? Go to people's
Yeah, let's
doors and
be clear. By dissolving the current committee, we're not trying to drop the ball on education. That's
I
not what
know.
we're doing here. We're trying to give you an avenue to actually impact some change of this.
Now, I'm not exactly sure, how we want to reach out to do that. Somebody else had mentioned to me, maybe we should put a notice in the town crier or something versus sending out an email. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion one way or the other. I just am a little concerned that when we put it out there, I think the first meeting might be a little bit of complaining. And that's, maybe what happens in the beginning when you're doing it.
Right.
And, a lot of people don't have the background information or don't read the minutes, but I was a little surprised at how much frustration there was. You would think that frustration would create some activity somehow.
Right.
But it didn't seem to do it. And we waited a while, we had talked about this off and on for the past year.
Well, I want to thank you for your efforts and, your participation in the committee. I guess we need to entertain a motion and then, oh, do we have more public comments? I'm sorry.
Mr. Mayor, we have Darlene Winooski.
Oh,
Hi, Darlene.
we've got a virtual one.
Darlene Winooski, 5948 Buttonbush. Respectfully disagree with many of the things that have been stated tonight. The community was frustrated. They were frustrated because of the roadblocks, and I understand they are governed by sunshine. However, had the guidance provided to them, I think they would have been able to function a lot better. I know that there are committee members that can produce emails that they requested to meet, and those emails went unanswered. I feel like the city council did not back the committee. You had one member that was there for compliance, but respectfully, none of the other city council members showed up to support the goals of that committee or to even see what they were trying to accomplish. I have been a principal in many different cities, and they successfully have these committees. So we're just going, instead of doing some research and finding out how other ones are operating on both sides of you and throughout the state of Florida so positively, I just don't, that doesn't make sense to me. Additionally, you had very diverse representation on the committee. You had public school principals, you had private school principals, you had teachers, you had parents, you had ethnic, diversity. So if you're just going to create a committee that can call each other on the phone back and forth, that's another social committee. Where is the transparency in that? So I disagree that a committee is going to be better. Need is guidelines on how to operate successfully as a committee and abide by the things that the attorney is setting forth and abide by the sunshine laws and be effective. And somebody just needs to go out and do that research, and we need the support of the city council to move forward. My son was the youth advisor. He was so proud to say, I was Westlake's first youth advisor member. He left after 2 years of arranging his football schedule, after never missing a meeting, after speaking out, bringing all these ideas without so much as a certificate or a thank you. He just kicked him out the door and he went off to college, and now there's no more committee. So it's a shame that that's what we're putting forward to our community. Logistically, it's hard. So we're just going to do it as a little phone group and a ladies club.
Thank you, Ms. Winooski. We have any more public comments?
Hi, Dr. Pam Manning of the Groves. I have never heard about this committee, and I'm a definite advocate for education. And I also went to mayor asking about how could I participate in doing things in the city. And if I had heard about it, I would have been one of those advocates. And just listening to the speakers, I can hear the passion in their voice. And I am asking for you guys to just give some time to see if it's some education, is some guidance, something, because just listening, I believe an advisory committee is important for the city of Westlake. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, you have another comment from Ms. Bermudez. Ms. Bermudez, please unmute your device.
Hi, I was having a little trouble there. Thank you for allowing me some time to speak again. In terms of creating a committee, a committee to better serve, like a team of people that volunteer in the committee and the community. I feel like there already are communities like that in place. I know in the Hammocks, for example, there is a communications committee and there is a social committee that I'm part of. And through there, I was able to effectively, or not myself, our team was able to effectively host a drive in the city, a school drive. We invited food trucks out and we were able to collect items and we were able to give those out to 5+ schools in our city and surrounding cities. So I know it is possible, but I think there is already a committee like that. I was just really hopeful about having something supported by, and I know that you guys, are saying you're going to support it by, or support the council. I know myself, I've tried to be so involved since I started, and I was the chair at the beginning of when all of this started, and we were able to successfully do a drive, and I just felt like it became stagnant, and it was because of frustration and having those roadblocks. But if other cities that surround us are able to effectively have really successful boards, I feel like, and I don't know if that will include me this next time around, but I'm so passionate about this, and I feel like we need to give this a chance. And without the roadblocks that we've had, if other committees or boards are successful elsewhere, I think there is potential for ours to be better than those. So I just wanted to share that there is something that does exist similar to, a committee that organizes things for education. In a few short months, we've done so much with just our social committee. So I know there's a ton of potential. I think we just need better direction. Thank you so much.
So actually, if you don't mind, and again, I just want to do what's gonna be best for the actual program. So if that means tabling this, then I'm more than happy to table it. But my question as somebody who is actually on the committee, I know you just mentioned that you were able to get so much done through your social committee, and I'm just using my own personal logic here. That's probably because you're not facing these roadblocks, or the way I would say it, handcuffed by sunshine. You could just pick up the phone and get all these things done. From somebody who's actually on the committee, what is your opinion on what we should do here? Like, the roadblocks aren't going to go away if we leave it a committee. You guys are going to have to meet,
Mr. Mayor, if I
having
could,
minutes taken.
at the risk of weighing in very shortly, keep in mind, they're not roadblocks. These are state statutes, and they're really, the compliance with them protects the board members and protects the city. And we didn't pass them. We have to adhere to them.
Of course.
Keep in mind too, second point I'd like to make, and I'll leave it at that. This is advisory board. This is not an autonomy. It can't operate without your approval. It has to come to this council for making recommendations. And then this council acts upon those recommendations on behalf of the city. You're not granting the authority to this board to operate on its own.
Understood. Simply an advisory
Yes, sir.
capacity. Yeah, just state your name and address for the record.
Gaston Rubio, I live in the Groves. Excuse the ignorance, but what is the function of the Education and Youth Advisory Board? Because I don't know. Like, what do they do? Because I know that we're talking about they do a lot, and not that I'm putting them down. I'm just asking, what is it that they do? Which is, if we know what they do, then we can properly defend their existence or properly defend revoking them.
It's meant to be an advisory committee that will make recommendations to our council on how we can impact youth and education in our city specifically. That's what the intent of that committee is supposed to do.
And only the schools within the limits of the
city itself.
Sorry.
May I also,
Mr. Mayor,
No. Someone's on the podium. Go ahead, sir.
Okay. So the schools within our district, they don't fall under Palm Beach County?
Yes.
They do, but this advisory board is specifically the ones in our city limits.
Okay. And then what about like PTAs and stuff? Isn't that a similar function, like how they would guide those specific schools, so to speak?
Not so much. That's a parent-teacher
Oh,
regulation.
She's a hand wave.
Mr. Mayor, can I just read the purpose of mission,
Yes.
just to be clear?
Please, Councilwoman.
The purpose, the City Council of the City of Westlake hereby creates and establishes an Education and Youth Advisory Board whose mission and purpose is to serve as a liaison between the City of Westlake, the Palm Beach County School District, and all public and charter schools which are located within the city in order to improve and enhance communication between all parties, to promote and provide public awareness for programs, opportunities, and initiatives of public charter schools located within the city, to recognize and promote accomplishments of students, administrators, public schools, and charter schools located within the city, monitor school district activities, and report on those impacting the city as needed. Schools located outside the city of Westlake and which residents of Westlake are zoned shall be within the Education Advisory Board's scope and purview.
I have a question. It's an ordinance that creates the advisory board, correct?
Yes, sir.
And within the ordinance, does it govern things like absences by board members? How many times they can be absent to a meeting?
Yes, we have attendance.
And what are those parameters? Because perhaps rather than dissolving the entire ordinance and board, let's make it so if you miss 2 meetings,
You're out.
you're off and there's a vacancy. If you miss 3 meetings, you're off and there's a vacancy piece. It seems like the passion is there from some of the members, but they're not able to meet and you need at least 3 to have a quorum. Right? So like, let's create a lead by objective opportunity where it's going to encourage these people to actually show up for the meetings. That seems to be the problem.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing.
A few other people have mentioned other cities have successful
Right.
boards. What are we missing that they have?
Exactly.
So maybe
So obviously we should
maybe
also-
we need to review the actual ordinance that created the board, make it a little bit stricter to encourage attendance.
Exactly.
Mr. Mayor, I don't see attendance, but I do see
I think
the
there's
board
two-
shall meet
Some stricken one here.
quorum and voting rules for.
Yeah, I don't believe it's in the orders, but just so you know, each board member serves at the pleasure of this council.
Understood.
And if you want to have a general rule, we can put it in the ordinance. Unexcused absences, excused absences, whatever threshold you want to set.
I
think
that may be the solution.
yes.
I think we need to look at successful boards and maybe start mimicking them and go from there versus just blindly throwing.
Well, and
other
also,
rules.
tailor ours to deal with our specific issue, which appears to be attendance. Nobody is against education.
No.
Exactly.
We just want a committee that's actually going to perform. In order to do so, you need to meet, and according to Dr. Kaplan, that was twice in a year, which
Yeah.
is not acceptable.
Yep.
So we also want successful advisory committees, not just for the purpose of a title of having an advisory committee.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, one of the issues that I observed was you have meetings. Who sets the agenda?
Chair.
Why?
That's what I was
The-
told when I came on after Katrina.
I mean, you have a city manager who sets your agenda. If you're going to have a board, I mean, they should work through the administration. I'm not trying to add work, but respectfully, boards do not set their own agenda.
Right? They can request agenda items.
Yes, but it should go through the city. If you're going to have an official board, you're going to have the city clerk create an agenda, those items. I mean, so really
That's
the
what we're
goals and
doing.
objectives goals and objectives need to be established for this council, which will provide direction to this board. And then what items are they considering? I think that I just observed, there wasn't a firm mission provided.
So
It's in the ordinance, but I think they need assistance in setting an agenda and considering action at the meeting, which will come back to you as recommendations.
I'd like to make a motion to table this
Let's,
and bring it back.
let's have someone, well, there's a motion on the floor.
Is there a second?
Yes. Second.
Could I have a motion clarity when do you want it to come back? There should be a time certain to table it.
I would like to have time to go back to city administration and discuss it with our liaison who on the city clerk staff. And we'll discuss it then and bring it back, let's say 2 months. November.
Okay. Respectfully, Mr. Mayor, there's no discussion. The motion to
I
table.
haven't said a word. I did not say a word. There's a motion and there's a second.
Can I get clarification of who seconded the motion? Okay, thank you.
Now, then there's a motion and a second.
No,
There's just a vote.
Okay.
that's straight, goes to the vote.
Roll call, Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Valley-Odone,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Tabled.
Can I just offer something?
Let's wait for public comment at the end if we can, because we've spent a lot of time on this one issue. But when we open up for public comment, you can absolutely. Okay. Ordinance 2023, City Attorney. 2023-06, please call me by title.
05.
I'm sorry, 05.
Ordinance by title only. Ordinance to City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, establishing qualifying dates for the March 2024 general municipal elections in accordance with the direction of the Palm Beach County Supervisor elections, providing for a change in date of the city's March 2024 general municipal election, providing for conflict, severability, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. City Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. In our charter and other things, we were a little bit off skewed with the dates for the supervisor elections. So that this does is bring us in line with the supervisor elections so that we correlate, correspond with all their dates of submissions, et cetera, for our elections.
So what in essence are we actually doing? We're changing the dates to what?
You're changing your qualifying period to November,
From January.
from January to November. And you're taking the election date that's set in the charter and moving it to the presidential primary date. So you don't have your own odd election.
And is there,
Keeps the cost down too.
is there a reason
Because we got
Allowed.
that.
we're doing this by ordinance and not amending the actual charter? Is it the same thing?
In order to amend this ordinance will amend those provisions of the charter. But we may want to consider that
Down
at a
the road.
later date.
Saves us money. It follows the suit of
The state.
county elections, state
Yeah.
elections.
Right. Puts us all on the same dates and times.
And if the. Okay,
You had me at saving money.
Because if we have a separate election, then we're having a separate election for the whole rest of
Oh,
the
yeah.
county. And that costs more money for supervisor elections office, for their.
It's an
it's all
expensive
together.
proposition.
Yeah, let's save money.
any other comments from council?
No comments.
Let's open up for public comment. Do we have any public comments on this item?
Mayor received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. Mayor, I have no comments.
There's no further discussion. May I entertain a motion, please?
Motion to approve ordinance 2023-05.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Bayonne. Roll call, Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bayonne,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Ordinance 2023-06 for first reading. City Attorney.
Yes, sir. An ordinance by title only, an ordinance of the City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, amending the city's code of ordinance by specifically amending ordinance number 2020-11 and 2022-07, regulating the operation of golf carts within the city limits. providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
City manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, these modifications are bringing our golf cart ordinance more in line with the state statutes and clarifying some of the actions and allows better enforcement with the PBSO.
There you go. Any comments from council?
No comment.
No more registering?
No, sir.
Any public comment?
I received no previous comment cards. We'll give the virtual audience a moment to raise their virtual hand. Mayor, we have no comments.
Motion, please.
Motion to approve ordinance 2023-06.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Belladron, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call, Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Belladron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
Resolution 2023-25 for the 2023 solid waste annual assessment. City attorney, read by title, please.
Yes, sir. Resolution by title only, a resolution, City of Westlake, Florida, relating to the provision of residential solid waste services, City of Westlake, Florida, approving the assessment rate for residential solid waste services for fiscal year beginning on October 1, 2023, imposing a residential solid waste services special assessment against assessed property located in the City of Westlake for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2023, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Mr. City manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this resolution is, every year we have to pass a resolution to infect the assessment for the solid waste in order for it to be on there. Again, this year, we're going to be holding it at the 280.60, which is the current rate. We will not be increasing.
And that's just a pass through.
Yes,
We charge what they charge us.
basically, yeah, and a small service fee is part of us handling the dollars that come in to pay the contractor. Now, next year, we will be going out for bid.
Next year,
Yes,
2024.
2024, during 2024, we will be going out for an RFP.
Is that early in
services.
2024?
It will probably be towards the middle to end. I've
Okay.
got to look at the contract date so that we can do our bid,
Great.
have that contract in place for when this one runs out. And then we'll see what our rates will be at that point in time for collection. Disposal is pretty much set. That's in the county, and
Right.
the county collects that direct for the disposal for each house. But our collection services could change.
Fair enough. Comments from the council?
No comment.
Public comments on solid waste assessment.
Hi, Alicia Torres, again, 5847 Whippoorwill Circle. I thought these charges were gonna be incorporated into our taxes eventually.
That's
They
what this
already are?
That's what this assessment does.
Okay,
It puts it in the trim notice and it will be in the taxes.
okay, thanks.
That line item is going to stay exactly the same as it was last year
Last year, correct.
in the taxes. Any other public comment?
If there's anyone in the virtual audience that wishes to make a comment, please raise your virtual hand. Mayor, we have no comments.
Motion, please.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2023-25 solid waste annual assessment.
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilman Martinez. Roll call. Councilwoman Belladron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Thank you.
So is there a first resolution 2023-25? So why do I have a 2023-24 for solid waste?
For the HOA.
New business.
Under new business?
Yeah, it's new business.
Okay, under new business, we have a resolution for 2023-24 for the 2023 solid waste annual assessment. City of Fulton,
No,
by title?
non-exclusive use agreement.
I don't have that.
23-24.
It literally says Okay, yeah, this is. Maybe it got cut off. Okay, under new business, we have before us Resolution 2023-24, which is the first amendment to a non-exclusive use agreement. City Attorney, can you read by title?
Yes, sir. Resolution by title only, a resolution, City Council, City of Westlake, Florida, approving and authorizing appropriate city officials to execute the First Amendment to the non-exclusive permissive use agreement between the Westlake Residents Master Homeowner Association, Inc. and the City of Westlake, providing a conflict, severability, and effective date.
Mr. City Manager, can you explain this?
Yes, Mr. Mayor and Council, this First Amendment is to clean up some ambiguities in the original agreement, such as timing, truing up at the end of the year, things like that. Ms. Dewey was on the other side of the clarifications.
We have Ms. Dewey on.
Hi, good evening. Tara Dewey, Lewis, Longman and Walker on behalf of Minto LLC, who, so this, if you recall, is for the use of the center for council meetings in the future. At the time that you approved this, your city attorney asked for some clerical changes to deal with making sure we didn't charge you when you're not going to use it, among other things. We were agreeable to that, so we finally took care of that housekeeping and clerical errors that we discussed at the time you approved it. And this amendment reflects those changes to the agreement of your city attorney. We were happy to make him happy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any comments from the council?
No comment.
Motion.
Motion to approve Resolution 2023-24.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Valley-Ron, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski. Roll call. Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Valley-Ron.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. We have before us the 2022 fiscal year audited financial report. Mr. City Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we have the annual audit that's required under statute from Burger Tunes. Call your attention to page 174 in your letter. Basically, this go round, we did not meet any conditions that would require them to report any conditions that they found. They don't have any recommendations, and we did correct the issue that we had back in 2021 with some accounting as to the right buckets of dollars. That's been corrected. So basically, it's a clean audit for this year.
Great.
Very good.
So a motion to accept would be in order.
I'd like to entertain a motion to accept if there's no council comments.
Mr. Mayor, I make the motion that we accept the fiscal year 2022 audited financial report.
Second.
Who made the first motion? I'm sorry.
Councilman
who
Leonard,
seconded the
seconded by Vice Mayor.
Motion by Vice Mayor Langowski, seconded by Councilwoman Leonard. Roll call. Mayor O'Connor.
That was reversed.
First.
Reverse.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Motion, seconded by Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Roll call. Mayor O'Connor.
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard.
Yes.
Councilman Martinez.
Yes.
Councilwoman Valley-Ron.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item C, Seminole Improvement District's reclaimed water tank expansion. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Alan with Caulfield Wheeler and Hayes Templeton are here to show you what is going on with the tank expansion and also with the district office facilities that'll be coming up after this and item D. Alan?
Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. I have this a little bit backwards. My name's Alan Hendricks. I'm with Caulfield and Wheeler. We're the engineers and landscape architects for Seminole Improvement District. I put the office first. That's what's got me flummoxed. But we'll handle them together. And if you'd like, we'll start with the reuse.
Yes.
Is that all right? This is what's on the screen. Yeah, the second page is. or the
Second batch.
Group is so reuse.
Thank you.
Here.
Thank you.
Sure, why not? Thank you.
It's right here.
Have you caffeine?
I can't seem to make this go up or down.
Free sodas up here.
It's right here. We could click over to the reuse site.
I don't have that.
Yeah, you did. Keep flipping all the way to the end. And go backwards. Keep it clicking. Here we are. The reclaimed water site is an expansion of our capabilities for Seminole Improvement District to provide reclaimed water for the city of Westlake. The expansion is the height of the new tank is the same height of the existing tank. It's just a lot more capacity. If you'll click to the next slide. This is the overall site plan for the sports park, if you will, City Hall. And the red box is where the reclaimed expansion is going to be. It's back in the corner.
Okay.
Next slide, please. And lastly, a rendering of what the tank will look like. It's a white tank, painted white with the Seminole Improvement District logo on the side and a blue band that matches the Seminole Improvements logo colors, if you will. Around it is a buffer that exists. So generally it is oak trees, sable palms, cocoa plum. We're going to expand that to where it covers the west and the south buffer areas. The north and the east buffer areas will be part of that larger park project. So we want the buffer to be a part of the park project, actually. And that is what our reuse, our reclaimed expansion site plan is about. Any questions on that? Actually, the next slide has got some pretty pictures on it.
I just had a question in terms of gray water, how this affects that, or it doesn't in any way.
When you refer to gray water.
You know, the ability that the city of Westlake has to not be affected by watering restrictions.
Yes, because you're using reuse water for irrigation.
Right.
So on water restrictions for normal potable water are in place, these would not impact us. The only thing that impacts us is if in fact the reuse plant has an issue with the water quality not meeting the parameters, they'll shut down or dial back. We may have to use surface water, which we have the capacity in SID to also blend with our reuse water, surface water.
So if the county goes under like severe drought and there's watering restrictions,
Doesn't
my
impact
neighbors
us.
in Westlake don't get affected. We can still water our grass and keep
Correct.
our guys clean. Got it.
Yeah, reclaimed water.
How much of a buffer do we have? How much time period?
I'm sorry.
Well, if we're talking about being able to continue to use the water, if the county says there's a drought, how much?
How long are we good for?
Yeah,
We have as long as the county's producing wastewater and reuse water. They're producing, we are, Seminole Improvement District is second in line to Florida Power and Light for reuse water that they put out for Florida Power and Light for their cooling of their power plant out to the west of us. We are second in line. As long as they can produce the water quality to FPL, we'll get our water as well. Now, in a restriction or if FPL requires more than what they have the capacity, they will shut us off. So we won't get any reuse water, but we have, Seminole has put in place 2 surface water blending pumps that will come into the system as well automatically. So we can
Where do we
withdraw
pull that water from, the M2?
from the M2 from all the lakes.
So
we have a capacity.
Start pulling it directly from the canal.
Correct.
We need to. So we're in good shape.
Yes.
Awesome. You're in very good shape.
Sorry to interrupt. Did we have any other comments, questions?
No.
Should we go on to the next presentation?
Do we have to?
We need to approve this first. Yes.
Approve this one?
Yes.
This is item C. Motion to accept.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion by Vice Mayor Lankowski, seconded by Councilwoman Vallejón. Vice Mayor Lankowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vallejón.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I've been advised that there is a condition of approval.
Yes. I'm sorry. The
Okay.
condition of approval is that the landscaping would be installed at the time of park.
So that needs to be included in the motion.
Yes.
I'll amend my motion.
Second.
To include the condition.
With the conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion by Vice Mayor Lankowski, seconded by Councilwoman Vallejón. Vice Mayor Lankowski,
Yes.
Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Vallejón.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
There we go. Thank you.
Office facilities.
Office facility also has a condition. Seminole Improvement District has no issue with that condition.
What's the condition?
The condition is if we ever have residential move to the west of us, that we will add in some more buffer, about 150 feet, we'll say, on the west side of our parcel.
What's the actual language in that condition? Is it 150 feet? Is
I've got it right here.
200 feet?
No, it just says it will required install buffer modification landscape permit stating required waivers needed for overhead utility lines and landscaping for FPL requirements. Landscape buffer shall be installed prior to building permit on the west side of this site. Technically.
You got to install landscaping before you start building.
No, before somebody builds on the west side.
On the west side.
In some respects, technically, there's not a buffer required because it's 150 feet across the lake. However, because at the facility, staff is recommending that we do something down the road. The site also requires and has some conditions that because of the power lines coming in and out, you have a lot of restrictions on what kind of plantings, what kind of trees you can use. So that's where it references FPL's guidelines for planting. So the trees that may be there may be of a species that doesn't get over 15 feet tall. But there will be additional landscaping at that point in time prior to residential being constructed on the west side. It's similar to what the council prior to you approved for the solar site. The solar site technically required a landscape buffer between the FPL solar site and the future roadway. But it was postponed until such time as the roadway gets built, because there's no sense in having a landscape buffer out there where there is nothing but fields
And having to maintain it.
and having to maintain it. So until the road is built along the FPL buffer, no buffer was required. Similar situation to this because of the parameters of what's in the area.
This buffer would be just west of the red line in between the lake and the building?
No,
On
because
the
that's,
north side of the west line, where that lake is, and there's a red line, there's no trees or shrubs there. If we build something out there on the west, to the west of the lake,
Mhm.
we're agreeing that we will put trees and shrubs out there. Everything else is, and as he mentioned, there is FPL easement everywhere on this site. Not literally. On the south of the site and on the east of the site, there's a 50-foot FPL easement. So what we're proposing to do is put in FPL-friendly trees.
Is this, what I'm seeing is a buffer between the non-Westlake homes?
Yes,
That's already a buffer?
yeah.
It is a buffer,
And What's
yes.
that buffer composed of?
It's probably junk.
Vegetation.
Gotcha.
Natural vegetation. Within the lines of our site, the red lines, we're going to use small trees specifically, and we've got a slide in the back that will show you what these look like.
Well, I will let you get back to your presentation.
FPL doesn't like a lot of things underneath their power lines. With understanding, but FPL will also, with understanding, let us plant trees there that will get to a height that won't interfere, won't come close to interfering with FPL. So this is the site. FPL substation is just north of us. This is off of Persimmon, which we're in the process of building out. Can we do the next slide?
Yes.
I either don't know how to work this thing or the thing doesn't work. This is the site plan. Excuse me. Site plan, we are proposing to do something just what Seminole Improvement District office does now. Office building for our administration, storage, and for vehicles and for the mechanics of being Seminole Improvement District. We're connecting to Persimmon by a roadway that exists now. We're going to improve it, that goes to the FPL site. We will extend that to our site, the Seminole Improvement District site. There's a dirt road out there we're improving. What else can I tell you about this? It's a work yard. It is administrative offices and it's storage. Next slide, please. These are the elevations. This is a metal building. We brought in an architect who has done just a nice job of taking a metal building and making it attractive. Architects have a way of doing that. The colors on here, the roof will be a metal roof, very similar in nature to the fire station. There is a desert sand, which is, I'm going to show you one of these. We have two different textures that are on this building. One is a stucco texture, and the darker colors in the center, if you will, the kind of the focal point of this building are in the desert sand. It's a little darker color. Cool. This is the stucco texture. Yep, I need the other one. And where the darker color is, it's more of a grid pattern. This elevation right here is the east facing, so it'll be facing towards Seminole Pratt. Does everybody know where this location is, out where the FPL substation is? What is this? Yeah, this is more of a texture. It's going to be more like a grid. You hear that? It's metal. Insulated metal. So to Seminole Improvement District's credit, they've taken what can be just a metal building that would not be super interesting and done enough architecture to it to will be an attractive building and still affordable and still function like it's supposed to function. Next slide. Next slide, please. This is the north elevation. On the left-hand side of your sheet or on the screen is where the offices are. On the right-hand side of the screen is where the storage and vehicle parking for whatever use. If you're familiar with the Seminole Improvement District office that we use right now, the same function in a better facility. little more organized and a good bit more attractive.
Good question.
Yes.
What's the hurricane rating?
Cat 5.
Just,
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
It is.
Even
It's,
now, all the minutes got-
it's going to be built, right?
Cat 5 insulated, the main building is insulated walls, steel on both sides with insulation in the middle. The part of the outside is not insulated, which is not under AC. Anything that's under AC is insulated.
Okay.
Right.
Generator?
We will have a generator that powers the entire facility.
We're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Right.
The offices.
We're a utility
The offices.
for all practical purposes.
May find some space for council from time to time.
Will it,
I didn't hear that.
will it ever house anyone if we had a hurricane come through? Would you ever need personnel to staff there?
It does have, the restrooms do have showers in it, and for a men's room and a women's room has a restroom and a shower, but it also has other restrooms. We could house people there during an event if
Okay.
necessary. But primarily it's to be there when we come back in to have all the pieces back together.
Great. Oh, sounds amazing.
Right? Generally, we're in an event, you know, we'll need our staff to be there and functioning on the ground, make sure the lake levels stay where they're supposed to, you know.
Yeah.
So we are prepared to be the utility, right? I'm sorry, how far did I jump ahead? This is the west elevation. There's a little bit of interest up there at the front door just to kind of help people find their way. Here is the front. It's not going to be complicated because there's a driveway that comes to the parking lot. Handicap parking and whatnot. Next slide, please. This would be,
Trees. It's exactly the same.
is it? We'll go to the next one then. Maybe I put the
There you
same
go.
one in there. That's funny. All that work I spent on that slide. Nothing. This is the monument sign. It's basically a wayfinding sign that will go in front, just to people come down the road. We want them to feel comfortable, like, oh, okay, I'm on the right path going to the Civil Improvement District office, pay my water bill or.
There's a shared use agreement where some of City of Westlake services will be operating out of this building.
Yes. As well, the building department will also be relocated over there until we build the other buildings in the
So
park.
will there be some City of Westlake signage?
And we'll find some place to put it.
Telling you. If you're doing.
Stick a banner out there.
It's all about the brand. It's all about the brand.
About the brand.
Next slide, please.
Which buildings qualify for arts public places?
Over $1 million.
Over $1 million.
Yeah, that's a good question.
We'll figure that out.
That's a very good question.
The last slide is just some of the plant material we're using around the building. FPL wants us to put silver buttonwoods. They want us to put Japanese blueberry, which are the two trees on the left-hand side of your slide.
Okay.
Tabachina is just your landscape architect being, you know, fluffy and
Fun.
fun. Live oaks and Royal Poincianas, where I can put something that's large, a large canopy kind of tree is closer to the building. That's what the live oak and the Royal Poinciana hedge material. It's the same palette that we use in locations around Westlake. Color, native plant material, more color, and something that will be not easy to maintain, but less intensive to maintain. And that will open it up for questions.
None from me.
Two other points that I would like to make is that on the south side and up the east side and coming into the building will be a 6-foot concrete wall with landscaping on the exterior. The west side will have a chain link fencing with the landscaping. And then it will also be chain link fencing between the district property and the FPL with landscaping. The gate that comes off of Persimmon, there will be a gate at the bridge, which is an automatic gate that is closed all from after 5 on, which isolates it. Plus we'll have additional gate fencing at the facility itself. To the east of the facility is the parcel that the county is looking at. We're working with them for their fuel site.
The only point I would make is the same as the existing building, you know, has Westlake and sit on the door because you're doing both services there. You
We'll
know,
put some additional
there'd be
signage.
some kind of branding for the city as well, because, you know.
We are one.
Well, and
I'm not one.
there
We're
are
one
going to be
together.
city services there, and we are paying you for it.
Correct.
So-
We'll make sure some modifications to the sign are made.
Yes, absolutely.
When's the anticipated start date?
We're actually ordering the building tomorrow. Expect to be in by this coming July.
You said building in July?
To be in the building by next, July 2024.
Great. Thank you for bringing up the fence and the wall. That's on your site plan. If we have any questions on that, you need me to point anything out to you.
We have any,
Okay.
do you have any questions?
No questions, no question.
I look forward to it. It looks like nice landscape, nice variety of plants. I hope it's beautiful site to look at. Yeah.
Gonna be beautiful.
Yeah.
Right.
It said needs a building.
So I guess.
Before they lose
Later.
before they
Some
lose their
landowner,
land.
some landowner may sell it out from under me in apartments, so I have to. be
So I need a
careful.
motion to accept
Motion approved.
With conditions, with conditions.
the conditions,
Did we, oh, there was no verification of foot length mass, right?
specifics.
No
no,
specific to
because-
FPL, is that what it was?
What was
Yeah,
the
it would
question?
just, you could adopt
With the
the
conditions
recommendation
brought
letter
forth
from
by staff.
engineering.
Right.
Mr. Mayor.
Motion to approve Seminole Improvement District reclaimed water tank expansion.
No.
Oh, we're on D. Seminole, motion to approve Seminole Improvement District office facilities with staff conditions.
Second.
Thank you.
A motion by Councilman Martinez, seconded by Councilwoman Bayron. Mayor O'Connor,
Yes.
Councilwoman Leonard,
Yes.
Councilman Martinez,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bayron,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Langowski.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0, excuse me.
Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Council comments, Councilwoman Leonard.
Mr. Mayor, I have no comments this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Just kidding.
I was just kidding. The Black Chamber that we are a member of as a city is asking to come out and have a listening tour with the residents of the city of Westlake. They are asking to come out on either October 10th or 11th. I want to make sure I get those dates right. And they would like to either use our chambers or the lodge for this listening tour. It is open to all residents of the city of Westlake. They will do a presentation. They would also like to hear from the residents of the city what the Black Chamber can do to support them and advocate on their behalf. So I was told that we needed to bring that to the council, because if we have it in the chambers on that date, which I think was in question because we may have emptied this out in October. So if we have to use the lodge, we will have to pay possibly to have the listening tour in the lodge.
And we have to make sure that the the lodge doesn't already have things booked on that date.
Correct. Correct. So I am coming before the council to ask if you would approve if the lodge is open on the dates designated. Trying to find those dates here. I have a lot of paper, sorry. That we would be approving or willing to pay for the use of the lodge on that date. And I anticipate it would be at least 2 hours.
We just amended the use agreement. Is that something that would fall under the use agreement that the city of Westlake has with the master association?
I got dates here somewhere.
Perhaps.
I'd have to take a look at it.
Because we have a prorated fee.
Well, I'm not talking about the money. I mean, there's a specific uses, I believe.
Right.
We can't just use it for whatever we want.
So this would be for the city. But I was told that the council would need to approve it because the city would have to pay for the use of the lodge.
Right, well, I mean,
Did I get that
yes.
correct? Yes.
But we also have to make sure that it actually falls under the allowed uses that the city has for the lodge. Like, we're allowed to have meetings there, we're allowed to have certain city functions there, but I don't know specifically if it bars.
Could the owner doesn't have any discretion on if they wanted to allow them to use it?
Well, yes.
Outside of our agreement, I mean.
Right, correct.
I unfortunately don't have the whole agreement with me at this moment, but I don't have my client with me this evening, which is rare for Mr. Carter not to have joined us. But I think if the city attorney is comfortable and you're comfortable with deciding to move forward, we can certainly decide whether or not that fits within the terms, and I can take it up with the client, who I can't imagine has an issue, but I can't say that for sure since he's not here.
I have a comment.
Yes.
We meet next Tuesday. We can have that information by then. Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
That would be
yes.
perfect. That would make everybody's
We're
life.
meeting on the
easier.
12th, so we have to
Perfect.
make it figured.
That is just next week, isn't it? Wow, time flies.
And it's October 11th or 12th, just for the record. So they are good with either date.
Okay, thank you.
So 11th.
Correct.
And Charlotte, can you elaborate a little bit more on
Yeah, wait
what the
till the
listening
end.
tour is?
Not
Excuse
yet.
me?
Can you elaborate more on what the listening tour is?
So the chamber is engaging each of their cities that they are members or have members in an active kind of dialogue between the cities and themselves. How can they advocate better? What services would they like the Black Chamber to bring to their city? So it's basically listening, they're listening
Okay.
for what they can do better to serve the community.
Now, if this building still does exist on those dates, we have the autonomy to just allow it right here.
Correct.
So maybe we should make that a primary option before spending taxpayer dollars. And,
This is free.
right, so like,
So
if this building exists,
I will discuss it with the landowner who is intending to demo this pretty quickly. I will find out if we can delay it a little bit.
So all of that was, yeah.
sure. So if it exists, great. If it doesn't, then we need to see if the
Right.
plan be in place.
All right.
But in terms of the actual listening tour, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
That the
Yes.
agreement.
Yes.
Yes. All right.
So having it, great, where, to be determined.
Yes.
CBD. All right. Mr. Martinez.
I thought we had a great meeting today, discussed a lot of things. Question, do we have a cutoff on length of meetings? We have anything? Just as we go, we'll either tap out or we'll say,
That's a,
realistically, I'm just asking if
no,
we
we have,
Pull the agenda,
the
table items.
majority
for
of the
next
council
month.
would have to agree to,
the table for.
Table items.
there's no actual time.
You can establish one by
No, I'm not, I want to,
resolution.
just asking.
There's no, you can
Okay.
go into the morning.
Okay,
We have to allow public to comment.
right.
Right.
No,
There's hundreds of public
Mhm.
people who want to comment, they each get 3 minutes.
I enjoy
Or you,
all the comments.
but you can limit it in that case.
We can limit it.
Yeah.
Say what,
Most-
10 of you get to speak?
No, strike 1 minute.
Oh, we can change the time.
Yeah,
We do have to-
and don't be redundant.
Okay.
And respectfully, I would suggest that you don't allow people to speak more than once.
Fair.
Okay. I just want to say thank you to everyone that came, spoke up, everyone in the crowd, everyone virtually. Thank you. I enjoy hearing everyone's opinions. It helps all of us up here tremendously. So thank you.
Great. Councilwoman Valero.
So I am very happy too. We discussed a lot of issues and I'm happy that we didn't have to dissolve the committee, the youth committee, education committee, and then we can give it another chance, maybe fixing it, making it work. That's very important for our community. And that's it. Thank you to everybody.
So, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Two items I wanted to bring up for proclamations for next week. Feeding South Florida approached me and they were looking at having a proclamation for Hunger Action Month for the month of September. And also September 15th through October 15th is Hispanic Heritage Month.
Correct.
So I just wanted to get consensus on each of those.
Yes,
Thumbs up from me.
yes, both.
Okay.
Okay.
Reading the same stuff.
So again, I want to echo Councilman Martinez's sentiments in terms of public participation. I think this was probably the most packed house we've had in a long time, and I got to see that. And I'm hoping that when we move into our new digs in the lodge, that'll encourage even more
I look forward to it.
public participation, because, you know, it is something when you can shoot over there in your golf cart safely and shoot over in your golf cart safely and attend a meeting right within the city. Also, I'd like staff to take a look at some surrounding cities, including Wellington's Youth Advisory Committee, on how they're structured. I think the city attorney's recommendations on providing them a roadmap in terms of agenda. They have specific agenda item requests, just like we do. They can request them, but maybe we kind of set the tone and set the guidance. And I'd really, really like to impose some kind of unexcused absences, several absences in a row. That seat just gets vacated, because I think that's truly part of the problem. It's just getting them in the room. So if we can motivate that in terms of leadership, then I think we'll have a much more productive committee. And, I'm glad we didn't dissolve it either. Restructuring it is probably the way to do it. We just want something that works. So,
Yeah.
And thank my colleagues for their leadership. And we had some very, very heavy and very important proclamations today. And I've never been more proud to have proclaimed them. So, thank you all. Staff reports. This says no reports. Now,
Fire and PBS are not here tonight.
okay. City attorney, updates, comments.
Nothing to report. Thank you for the opportunity to be here this evening.
You're welcome. Mr. City Manager.
I have nothing to add at this time, Mr. Mayor.
Now we can open up for public comments and requests. So do we have anyone from the public? Ms. Kaplan?
Mayor O'Connor, you were reading my mind. I was just going to say that there were some good suggestions that came up from people, and I think the one about going to these cities that have successful committees is a great idea. I had actually thought about that myself in terms of going to a couple just to see what's happening, but I think I have some connections too. So, I can let you know. I think they even mentioned that Wellington had a meeting coming up on the 19th.
Mhm.
So that may be one worth going to.
Please, thank you so
That
much.
was it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Kaplan,
Thank
if you please could tell us what we're missing to make this better.
Ms. Campbell?
I'm a bit confused as to why we have to pay the lodge for use the space.
I'll explain it. So the city of Westlake does not own the lodge. It is paid for by the homeowners, not the city. So they're two completely different entities. So they've been kind and gracious enough to allow us to use it. And we have to pay for that space, just like if anybody else was trying to rent the space, we have to pay to use it. Otherwise, I mean, it could be misconstrued even as the city colluding with the builder or a private entity who also has applications in front of us. So we have to pay to use that space just like everybody else. We don't get it. for
Yeah,
free.
yeah, but couldn't they give it pro bono for something like that particular meeting for the Westlake? So
So-
we're paying for it, we're
So
paying for
if
it,
the
right?
Black Chamber skipped the city and went directly to petition the Master Association, sure, they could decide to or decide not to give it to them pro bono. But if the city uses that space, we have to pay for it. Even this building was being rented to us for like $5 a year or something like that. Like it has to be paid for.
So can we
to
give them
keep it on
$10?
board, if I'm not mistaken, Mr.
So-
Counselor, did I nail that on the head in terms of why we have to pay to use the space?
You want an arm's length transaction. You don't want to be accepting private donations, if you will. And that'd be a contribution from a private entity that, as you said, could look like some type of influence.
I don't know how much they charge, but couldn't they just take a small, instead of taking $5 for here, could they take a small?
So under the agreement we have, it's a fixed amount. So if we use half the space, and it's pretty detailed. I don't know the exact numbers, but if we use half the space, it's X amount. If we use the full 350 person capacity, it's another amount. So no matter what, we use the space, we have to pay, and we have to abide by it, just like the ordinances and everything has to be line itemed and done in perfect steps. We have to pay exactly what the item says, or else it's like it doesn't,
There's no getting around it.
yeah, there's no getting around.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other public comments from people here before we open to public comments virtually? No one? Alicia? Alicia? Let's go ahead and open virtually.
Mayor, I received a public comment from, let me see, Ari Rodriguez.
Annie.
You mean Annie Rodriguez?
I'm sorry, Annie Rodriguez, yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Annie Rodriguez, 5991 Whippoorwill. I have a statement and a question. I'm very happy that you tabled the decision regarding the board because I think, or the committee, I think it's a board or committee. I think that's very different than volunteers. And I wanted to suggest that perhaps the people on that board, that you could revisit their commitment, because I kept hearing that one of the challenges, people not showing up to the meetings, and perhaps you guys need to revisit whether they still want to be on that board. But I'm very glad of the decision that was made not to dissolve it. I totally agree with Darlene and with Alicia that it is something very valuable that I think in the future is going to be even more valuable. The second thing I wanted to say, I have a question. I would like to meet with the city manager, Mr. Castle, regarding understanding the taxes better. Is he still doing the coffee with the city manager?
Yes, I am.
When is the next date?
I think it's next, I think
Have a council meeting.
I have to look at the calendar. It's on the agenda, it's on the city's website as to the next coffee
Yeah.
with the manager.
Yeah, I was looking, but I couldn't find it. But I'll call. Thank you so much.
Any other virtual public comments, Madam Clerk?
Mayor, I haven't received any additional comments.
Anybody want to raise their virtual hand?
Mayor, we have no more comments.
Okay. Well, on that note, I will adjourn this meeting at 8:43 PM. I'm not sure if
Thank you.
Bye.
it says next meeting subject to be changed or canceled.
Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
Okay.
This is our longest one.
The one that is at 4 p.m.